Good morning. I am Dr. Jitendra Joshi from Global India Business Forum. I am a global president. Today we are here in the embassy of Mongolia in Delhi. Mongolia is very big country. In the size wise, it is the 18th largest size country in the world, surrounded by big countries like China and Russia. You all know the Mongol Empire, which was very famous because of the Genghis Khan. The India and Mongolia is really started good business association together for last many years. We have the history that lot of business activity happening for last so many years, thousands of years we can say. And in terms of population, if you can say, the Mongolia is almost 3.2 million population of Mongolia. Today we are very happy. We are started this series to interviews of ambassadors of various countries, and I am happy today we are with us His Highness Mr. Ganbold Dambajav. He is the ambassador of Mongolia. Welcome you, sir.
Okay, thank you for having me. And as you rightly said, Mongolia is a big country, and in terms of the territory, it's almost 4 times of France or half of India. And at the same time, population of Mongolia, whole population of Mongolia, it's less than one district of Delhi, which is 3.4 million. So, and you can imagine that half of them live in the capital city, which gives the countryside very wild and open.
We are going to discuss about specifically the business and business affair. Sir, as you know, the COVID is very big problem in the world for last more than 2 years. Talking about the MSME sector, micro, small and medium sector, which contribute a very large portion of business for the any country development, and the number of jobs which was also coming from the MSME sector are also in a very high number. After COVID, so, we just want to know what is the situation or what is the status of MSME sector in Mongolia specifically.
Yes, the COVID hit hard, I think everybody in the world, and especially the small and medium sector business, because as you all probably know, the small and medium sectors are mainly the businesses which occupies 10-1500 or less than personnel. So we can do business online, which gives a very big push for the new businesses, new IT business and everything. And the government is supporting. The government of Mongolia issued the program policy, the restoration after COVID, and it's giving certain subsidized businesses to come up with new ideas, new businesses. So yes, and there is some obstacles we were facing during the one, and now everything's coming back slowly, but getting back on track.
Sir, as you are aware that India is such a huge country, such a large population. Maybe we will be number one population of in the world soon, maybe within next few years. So in that case, sir, the role of Indian government is very, very important. And now as the political scenario or the global political scenario, geographical scenarios are changing, in that case, sir, what do you think, what should be the role of India or the Indian government specifically towards Mongolia and about business activities?
Yes, India is nowadays everybody I would agree with me. I assume that they will agree with me that India is now one of the important players in the world, especially since the COVID. If you see how India lead the world by the COVID, the vaccination program, how it's donated vaccination. Actually, the Indian government was the first country in the world that donated 150 doses of vaccine to Mongolia, which was very crucial for Mongolian to overcome the first wave of the COVID. And the next thing that we see that today was that India is playing a very crucial role in the world economy, with its own market of more than 1,400,000,000 population, and industry that is got very good support from the government. And if you see that the Indian foreign policy, it's the policy of the East Act, the neighbors first. Those the policies that is implemented by the government and the foreign ministry is very crucial for not only for India but for the neighboring countries. And in Mongolia, we see the India as our historical friend, our spiritual neighbor. And if we go back to history, it's more than 4,500 years. Our scholars, monks, used to come to study in the Nalanda University, which gives us very big, long history cooperation. And as of today, Mongolia and India is developing the strategical partnership between our countries, and Mongolia sees India as one of the important third neighbor in this region. And this gives us a very bright perspective for our bilateral cooperation, not only on the political stage but on the economic issue. And since the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1955, our cooperation was mostly at the political stage, because if you remember, the Mongolia was part of the communist system, and those 70, 80 years was we were separated, let's say. There was no direct contact between our two countries, active contacts, let's say. But happily, we overcome this distancing, and now we are getting closer, the Mongolia and India. And one of the priorities, as I see during my tenure here, I'm planning to conduct the way how to bring our two countries closer, our people to closer, because what I see that we are missing that link we used to have in a long history, and now we have to revive it, and we have to bring the people-to-people relations based on that. Since the Mongolians will understand the Indians, and the Indians understand the Mongolians, based on that understanding, the business opportunity will be there. And of course, the other aspect of the cooperation is that we have to have a direct flight. That's we are planning to conduct, and we are working on that. And there is actually one Mongolian private company is doing the charter flight. We want to get it commercial and sustainable, stable flight every once a week. So based on those two aspects, probably we can accomplish a lot. And of course, one of the important project that is implemented by the Indian government based on the soft loan provided to Mongolia on the Exim Bank is the oil refinery, which is very crucial for Mongolia. And this is the first oil refinery in Mongolia, and it will be fully operational by 2025, which will provide us our energy security for Mongolia, and will cover the 80% of domestic internal use of the oil and the benzene petroleum.
India-Mongolia has a very long relationship of business. At least the ancient year, we can say almost 4,000 to 5,000 years back, maybe our forefathers have started, and people-to-people contact was established so many years back. So it was, we are very lucky countries that from those years we are in touch. And today we are talking about the business relationship. As you rightly said, we want to re-establish that business relationship at the bigger platform. So I just want to know, sir, for our Indian businessman colleagues, for the big businessman, even for the MSME businessman, those who are listening this discussion, what are the business opportunities, or what are the investment plan actually Mongolia is offering for Indian businessmen for the next 2 to 3 years of time?
Mongolian government is, we have a law that is adopted by the parliament that there is no division of the foreign investor or internal the domestic investor. So every business is equal. So I believe this will give a very good chance for the Indian business people to come to Mongolia. And of course, the bureaucracy or getting the license and everything is easing down. All the paperwork is less now, you know. And I believe that India can play a very important, crucial part in the Mongolian economy and the Mongolian development. Since the Mongolia is a very rich country, we have the whole Mendeleev table of chemical elements is there. So you probably heard about that, Mongolia, coal, copper, gold, you know, and so the rare earth elements, which is very important for the Indian, the program that India has announced recently, that it will produce all the microchips within the India. So all the rare elements that are important for the mobile phones, the electric cars, the microchips is there in Mongolia. So I believe that is one of the big opportunities for Indian business to come in Mongolia to set up their business the business can be very different. The various. It's the joint venture, direct investment, or the share in the Mongolian company. So are there a lot of opportunities for business in Mongolia, and the mineral that is very need for the Indian business is there. And of course the Mongolian coal, cooking coal that we trying to deliver to India is that is crucial for the Indian metallurgy to develop. And in the last year we sent actually 1.2 tons of Mongolian cooking coal for the test in the Indian laboratories, and I understand that the result came very positive, and the Indian companies are ready to purchase the cooking coal. And during the last December, during the visit of our speaker, the Mongolian side expressed that our oil price will be compatible to other countries, the coal that is delivered to Indian market. Said this is about the mining, but the other aspect that I'm interested is that as you we all probably know that by November the world population will reach 8 billion. And this comes as nowadays we see that the food constraint all around the world. Everybody is worried about the wheat, the potato and everything. So as I said before, the Mongolia is a half-time of India. And as I said, half of the population is in the capital city, and as you can see, the rest of the territory is hugely unpopulated. The scarce is open. They can come to Mongolia to grow, do the agriculture business. Not only the mining, but agriculture is also important. And on the next aspect of our cooperation, I believe it's tourism. For Mongolians, India is land of Lord Buddha. Everybody knows that, and every Mongolian wants to come to sacred places in India to pray and worship the Lord Buddha. But I understand that India has more to offer to Mongolians, because the Buddhism is a certain part of the society.
And originated in India.
Yes, and based on that, there are a lot of places for Mongolians to go to visit, and it will be interesting. For example, the Goa. In the winter, as you probably aware, the Mongolia is very cold. So Mongolians can come to Goa in the winter to see to get the shore, get the ocean, and of course the southern part, the beauty and everything is there. And at the same time, I believe that Mongolia has also have a lot to offer to Indian tourists. Nature, as I said, it's open, wilderness. Yesterday I had a discussion with a company that would like to have a video on the wild adventure tour to Mongolia, which is I believe it's very, environmentally safe, and of course it will bring more interest for Indian tourists who wants to go out of the population in India, go to Mongolian wilderness. You can walk whole day to see only wild animals, no human beings. So that's what the Mongolia can offer.
Sir, as we are discussing about the lot of offering for Indian businessmen from Mongolia, agriculture definitely, I think there's a very wide scope of agriculture as a big land bank is having in Mongolia. So do you think as this is a landlocked country, as there is no ocean, so what do you think what may be the challenges for Indian businessmen, those who are thinking to establish manufacturing plant in the Mongolia, or maybe agro related, if someone is thinking about to do investment or do some work in that particular area. So what do you think what may be the challenges, and what should be maybe the solution for all this for the time to come?
Yes, as you said, Mongolia is a landlocked country, sandwiched between two giants, Russia and China. But what I would suggest to Indian friends, colleagues, business people, that when you think about Mongolia, don't think only about the Mongolia with the population of 3.4 million. Because we have very good relations with our two neighbors, we have no territorial disputes. Based on that, the business setup in Mongolia have certain privileges to go to the Russian market, to Chinese market. So when you think about Mongolia as a business country, business opportunity, think about wider, not only within the Mongolian border. Please go out, if you go to north, Siberia, whole Siberia is there. The Mongolian based, maybe joint venture Indian company based in Mongolia have certain advantages to go to Siberia, because the whole Siberia is not well developed as of today. So maybe Indians can help Siberian population to develop better based on in Mongolia. There is a lot of opportunities for business. So I would suggest the people that we have to think about wider, not only the Mongolia. So we have to think more wider, and I believe based on that assessment, the Mongolians can, the Indians can actually succeed. As also the other aspect is of course the infrastructure. The logistic of doing business from Mongolia, export, it goes through the China or the Russia. So this is, yes, as of today we're facing certain difficulties, but the Mongolian government is doing a lot of things to ease that problem, and we're opening the second port, railway port to China. We're planning a lot of plans to deliver direct railways to Russian ports. So there is a lot of opportunities, and there will be in the near future with the cooperation with the Indian business, we can succeed on this developing the logistics.
Great. So Mongolian businessmen for last many years, as we are discussing, there are so many trades happening between Mongolian businessmen and Indian businessmen. If you think there are some specific sectors where Mongolian products maybe you want to introduce in India, maybe in terms of maybe increase of volume, and which specific maybe product or sectors you can see there opportunity for Mongolian businessmen in India?
Mongolia, as of today, we have more than 70 million of livestock. So based on that, the meat, the cashmere, the other products of the live husbandry can be delivered to Indian market, and also the dairy products, which is crucial. And I understand that the Indian dairy products is very well developed. So in Mongolia, we have more than 70 million livestock, which is doing on the grazing by themselves, which is I would say this eco products. So based on that, eco, because everybody nowadays in the world thinking about eco products, so ecologically positive products, that the husbandry products can be developed in cooperation with the Indian, our friends and business people, and those products can be imported to India directly from Mongolia, and the production can be set up in Mongolia, because you can imagine more than 70 million livestock can have the huge aspect of as a meat, as the dairy products. That's one thing. And another one thing, I believe that the cashmere. You probably heard that the Mongolia is the producer of the more than 80% of all raw cashmere comes from Mongolia. So those raw cashmeres can be processed in Mongolia and delivered to Indian manufacturing textile companies, or maybe Indians can come to Mongolia, set up the textile in Mongolia, joint venture or direct investment, and do the very good high quality products in order, because as I said, as I understand, the first winter was very cold for me, because inside it's very cold because of you don't have the central heating system as we do. And the cashmeres and with high quality cashmeres from Mongolia can be used in Indian market, and of course Northeast Eastern territories also use this wool and products. So these two things, the aspects can be also the interest for the Indian business people.
And sir, a bit talking about the travel tourism activity with the tourist, we just discussed about a lot of tourists maybe from both the countries can travel to each other country. So in that case, the flights, the number of flights availability, so that definitely will be the matter a lot in future. So what do you think the plans, or what do you expect from both the countries government, what needs to be pushed fast so that this actually the logistics activity for the tourist as well as for the material movement will be more sophisticated in time to come?
Actually, in 2015, the Mongolian Airline National Carrier and the Air India signed the MOU doing the code-sharing flight, and it comes through the Singapore or Hong Kong. But by the time passes, it appears it didn't develop well. But as of today, as I said, the Mongolian private company, small airline company, the Hunu Air, is doing the direct flight. It's a small airplane which takes about 8 hours to get from Ulaanbaatar to Delhi. Believe that with the cooperation from the Indian side, the Indian Airlines, with the cooperation with the existing Mongolian airline, which has already got the permission for the civil aviation authorities of India to conduct the commercial flights, it can be developed very well because if they get a big airplane like Airbus, the flight time will be around 6 hours from Delhi to Ulaanbaatar. So that will make easy for the Indian tourists to travel to Mongolia to discover our wilderness. And at the same time, there are a lot of the passenger flow from Mongolia to India. It's first of all, of course, the Buddhism, Buddhist pilgrims, monks. And as you're all probably aware, the Buddhism is one of the important links that connecting our two nations. And besides that, I'm witnessing a lot of the medical tourism coming from Mongolia to India. So this can be also used as a good push for the development of the direct flight. And of course, since the Indian is starting the oil refinery in Mongolia very soon, the flow of Indians, engineers, professionals coming to India for the oil refinery will be per month, probably it's more than 1,000. So it will give also the good possibility to develop the airlines, direct flight.
Mongolia, there is a huge potential that the infrastructure development in terms of bridges, maybe the development of maybe the new airport, the bigger side, tall size buildings. So the Indian construction industry, infrastructure industry was doing so well. There are so many good infrastructure companies in India. So what do you think, sir, how these companies can do contribution for Mongolia, and what should be the better source to get connected for maybe the new contracts, and how can they come to know that these are the specific activity is available for Indian infrastructure companies?
I have already met a couple of Indian infrastructure companies, which is the railways, metro, and other specifics. As you asked, the shortest way I believe to get in contact is, of course, through our embassy. We'll do our best to connect you to your colleagues in Mongolia. As of the development of infrastructure in Mongolia, it's not that well developed. So I understand the Indian companies have very good opportunity there, because those companies whom I met, they say that the price of the project will be very competitive to Chinese ones, which is very reasonable for us. And the railways, the bridges, as you said, because Mongolia is a vast country, and we have only the one railway is connecting the North Russia to China direct through the Ulaanbaatar. So, our plans future, we want to have the horizontal the railways from the west to east, which will bring goods price very down. So I believe the Indian infrastructure company is very good chance there, and of course that with the support from the Indian government and with the collaboration with the Mongolian government, the infrastructure the projects can be developed. As of today, Mongolia has only one international airport is in the capital. But I believe that developing the other local airports, like in the case of India, opening in India, I believe almost every month you open the new international airports in the different states of India. So I believe that a similar situation can be played in Mongolia. So in the western part, maybe the Hoth province, which is already set a very good infrastructure for local airport. It can be well developed to the international airport, which will bring the tourists from India to fly not only to the capital but directly to the western province, where is the high snow-peaked mountains. The projects can be developed there. Also the eastern part, which is the west of the valleys, the lands. Also the Henty province can be developed very well, the local airport to international, which will gives the Indian tourists chance to visit the birthland place of the Chinggis Khan.
So the last 2 points I really want to discuss with you. So delegations are very important part. Unless, as you said, the people-to-people contacts are very important. Global India Business Forum is always trying that we are taking delegations to various countries. So in that case, if Global India Business Forum would like to have one good delegations to Mongolia along with the help of Embassy of Mongolia in Delhi, which type of businessman you will be preferred in that delegation, so that they will be having really good potential in Mongolia, and they'll be welcome. So where we can try that they can visit some business activities, interact with your good businessman, Chamber of Commerce. So which businessmen you would like to invite through Global India Business Forum to Mongolia?
I would suggest to all type of business because the opportunity is there in Mongolia. As I said, we have to think not only within the border of Mongolia, we have to think to our neighbors, to the region. So, of course, the mining, the infrastructure business, the tourism business, as well as the livestock, husbandry, agriculture. So I would suggest all types of business are open there, opportunities there. At the same time, I believe that Bollywood, the cinema, have a very good potential in Mongolia because the wilderness, the nature, wildness, the nature, pure nature, virgin nature is there. So taking up taking a shoot, making a movie in Mongolia, the Bollywood, the Indian actors can be very successful. And based on that, the Mongolian government issued a decree that it will reimburse more than 30% of all the spendings on the movie made in Mongolia. It will return to the company. So maybe it will give the Indian cinema people more the inspiration to go to Mongolia because yes, because that's also will bring our nation closer together by understanding, and also I'm discussing with the Mongolian productions, the cinema production, to come to India to shoot the movie in collaboration with the Bollywood, West Bengal, the other Punjabi movie cinema companies that that can bring our people close together because understanding each other, watching each other's movie, seeing each other, it will be more grateful. And last April I had with our own consul in Calcutta, we conducted the Mongolian Cinema Week in West Bengal. So now we're working on the Mumbai, the Chennai, and the Bangalore also to conduct similar movie festivals. So based on that, we can bring the entertainment sector, as you said. It can be also important part of our cooperation, and it's a very best opportunity in Mongolia.
Last point is very important as we discussed, sir. As Global India Business Forum is believing that the association should be continue and there are a lot of programs, event needs to happen. It should not be that one-time meeting and everything will be happening. So in that case, the council forming. So we form more than 26 business council for various countries. The similar as we are planning that India-Mongolia business and cultural council, as culture is also very important role. So I just want to know your thought about as we are thinking to form this India-Mongolia business and cultural council, and there is a big agenda after that. So where actually whatever we are discussing today, this discussion should be really helpful in future, and this council should be fruitful for businessmen from both the sides. I just want to know your opinion about this council opening and the future plan about growth of bilateral business relationship between India and Mongolia, sir.
Yes, I fully welcome and support the idea because as a business people, they know way and means how to make it possible. Of course, with the support from the government of India and Mongolia, they can succeed. So by establishing this Business and Culture Council of Mongolia and India, I believe it will play a very crucial role. And I would like to encourage you to establish it as soon as possible and come up with certain roadmap. So what we can do, and of course, bring in the business delegation to Mongolia, bring in the Mongolian delegation to India, and I believe we can start with the tourism companies, the first most one, and then of course the business people, the mining sector, the dairy products, the husbandry, the agriculture. So all the possibilities there. So I would suggest please come up with as soon as possible the establishment of the council, so we can work together to develop this business and cultural relations, and based on that, our people will understand each other better, and by that we will establish that lost link that I'm saying that between our nations, and it will bring us closer. And I believe our cooperation, Mongolia and India cooperation, can do a lot to develop the stability in the region, to develop mutual understanding, and of course the prosper business cooperation between our two nations. And as I always say, the cooperation should be mutually beneficial. And based on that, based on the Business and Cultural Council, this cooperation network will be real-time the engine of development of our bilateral relations.
Great. So today we are discussing with Ambassador of Mongolia in India, Mr. Ganbold Dambajav, and we really had great discussions about the future roadmap for India-Mongolia Business and Cultural Council, and through that we need to find out the roadmap. So we welcome all the businessmen for the MSME, for the big businessmen, those who are really keen to come to Mongolia and establish a good relationship. Global India Business Forum along with the Embassy of Mongolia in Delhi, we will try our best that we can support you more and more. So we are really thank you, sir. Thanks for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I hope we'll do have our cooperation more fruitful and more brighter, so we can have more Mongolians come to India, and of course Indian come to Mongolia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.